For this hour, know that the way I phrase this, next steps will answer probably about 95% of those general questions that you have. That 5% gap are probably really specific, tailored questions about your situation or anything that you have going on. So throughout this presentation, make note of the appropriate parties so you can just reach out to us individually. We're here to help. We want to support your transition to here, Cal Poly Pomona. So just make sure you do follow up with us directly. We will try to save time at the end. I know we have a lot of content for any questions, but feel free to drop those in the chat as well. It's easy for us to see those at the end and kind of address those along the way. But if we want to go ahead, Jasmine, and start sharing the presentation, I can jump in.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see.
Right. There we are. All right. So this is next steps for admitted students, fall 2023. And this specific session is for our transfer incoming students. So the first thing I'd just like to say is congratulations. We cannot wait to welcome you to the Bronco family this fall. And before you start, first day of class is August 24th. There's a lot of things and checklist items, to-dos, deadlines, and information you're going to be provided. So we want to try to curate sort of what this looks like for you all so that you feel prepared and you can kind of get everything crossed off your list as you look to begin here in the fall semester. So as I said, I am David Estudiante. I oversee the Office of New Student Programs and Family Engagement here, which for you all means orientation. So we're going to dive right into what to expect from Summer Orientation 23. So the first thing I like to say with orientation is that there are a few different elements. And we're getting a lot of outreach and phone calls regarding what is an online orientation versus what I signed up for over the summer. So there are two components to orientation. There's an online session, which releases in 3 parts that is asynchronous and self-paced. You get a full introduction to the campus community. So part 1 released May 1st. Many of you have been actively going through all of that content. Part 2 releases June 1st and really focuses on academic advising and getting prepared for registration. And then part 3 releases July 21st. And that'll be more campus community resources for you to just go through all the different support services and resource offices here on our campus. It is mandatory for you to complete the online orientation. As I mentioned, it's self-paced. We do ask that you complete the first 2 parts before you join us for your live orientation session. So that second live orientation session is the second component. So a majority of those are happening in person. We've isolated 7 in-person dates and 6 in-person dates for transfer students. And then 2 of those are happening via Zoom for transfer students. So a lot of students are like, wait, there's an online, but a virtual, what does that look like? That's just because you're joining us live, where you will engage with us either via Zoom or in person. And that agenda will look a little different and is structured for the day. And you'll get time with your college to do academic advising, course registration, and my colleague Erin will talk about what that component looks like. And that live session is also mandatory. Okay? So the final deadline for a student to make an orientation reservation, if you have not yet, is May 15th. If you want to do something interactive, you can give me like a hand raise or something with one of the emojis saying that you've already made your reservation. Love to see that. There we go. I like it. I see some hands raised, some emojis going up. Good. I'm thankful. I can't wait to meet you all over the summer. Our first date's July 18th. And then our virtual options are August 2nd and August 4th. So I'm glad that you all have already sort of made the commitment and moving forward in the process, but you do have until Monday the 15th. If you have any issues securing a reservation, please reach out to us at orientation@cpp.edu. Reservations are available based on your academic major because part of the day you will do academic advising, and we want to make sure you have the appropriate people and folks on hand to really give you academic advisement and support you in course registration. If you need to make an adjustment to your reservation, we ask that you reach out to our office. A lot of students think that they need to cancel the reservation and remake it just to add a guest or remove a guest. That's something we can do on the back end. So please, by all means, don't feel like you have to cancel your reservation unless you know that date is a true conflict. But there are some dates that are filling up. So if you want to make sure you just, figure out what's available before you cancel your current reservation, that's what we're here to do and help support you with. All right, so what is the live sessions? What do they look like? I split this into 3 specific categories so you know what to expect. If you're joining us in person for orientation, the time frame is 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It's a full day. And if you're joining us via Zoom in August, that is 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I know it's a long time in a Zoom, but we have it structured and set up so that we will support you and still be engaging. So there are 3 main components. One is an academic connection. We want to make sure that you get introduced to your academic college, that you understand the requirements of your major, that you meet other students that are incoming into your specific area, and then you engage in academic advising and fall course registration. And Erin will talk a little bit more about that in this next section. The second is a peer connection. So we've hired over 40 orientation leaders that will be your navigators throughout the day. They're current CPP students, and they'll be your main source of connection. They'll do some activities with you all. They'll navigate you through the day. They even support with registration. And then also do a little bit of dialogue so you understand what the student experience is. What does it mean to be a CPP student? Where are the best places to eat on campus? Where's the best study places? Anything that you need from a student perspective, you'll get through them. And then finally, we want you to understand more the Cal Poly Pomona resources and support services. So we've curated sort of what that looks like for you all with some learning pathways, which I'll talk about on the next slide. But we also want you to be able to identify at least one resource. So when you step foot on campus day one, you know there's an office somewhere here that can support you. And who's the point of contact for that office and what do they do? Whether it's health and well-being, academic support, or really the cultural and identity navigation and support for you. Perfect. So if you've registered for orientation, then you understand and see that there are pathways that we've identified for students to sort of curate their experience with the live sessions. So those 3 learning pathways are University 101, Diversity Matters, and then CPP Community on Campus. We do have a full exhaustive explanation of what these pathways are on our website for new student programs and family engagement. But that first bullet point I put on there was just sort of the general overview of that pathway and sort of the high level detail of what you would get. So for University 101, it really was essentially talking about core resources. So we invited a representative from the Care Center that can come and talk through sort of what that looks like for the day, our one-stop shop for holistic health and well-being for students, and integrating other support services regarding student health, well-being, counseling, and psychological services. Diversity Matters, we've included the Centers for Transformation, Retention, Equity, and Empowerment, or Centers for TREE. You'll learn every institution loves acronyms. CPP is no different. So you will get it, I promise. And that's part of what orientation will do is teach you some of these acronyms and offices so that you integrate it into our campus community. But this one will really focus on sort of the cultural and identity resources here on campus and student clubs, organizations. And finally, CPP Community on Campus. We're working with our partners at Associated Students, Inc., ASI. They'll also talk about other types of student engagement, leadership, and success programming that takes place on our campus that you can do outside of their organization, but also ways that their organization supports students. Right. So outside of what I just shared and gave you a brief teaser and introduction to what orientation means, I know there are a lot of other frequently asked questions because we're getting them via phone or email. So first and foremost, that orientation fee is due September 1st. We get that a lot. So that is a separate fee from other student fees and charges. We set it September 1st so that if you are receiving any additional aid and you expect a reimbursement, you can use that reimbursement to help offset that orientation fee. If you're unable to join a summer orientation date, we are going through an exemption process for some students. What I'll say is the exemption, you need to have documented proof that you are unavailable for the dates of orientation. So in your initial request, if you feel like you should be warranted an exemption, we ask that you include any documentation that demonstrates why you're unavailable for those times or that period of time. This next one, if you are considering changing your major, just note that you've been admitted and accepted to CPP for a current major, and orientation is not the day to engage in conversations about, oh no, I think I want to switch this major or change into this one. You already have preset advising set with the academic colleges, and make use of that time with your advisor. They're not going to know things about changing major or what another major requirement is. So just engage in a helpful conversation with them. And then in your first semester, find the appropriate people to talk through what it means to change a major. I've talked about adjusting your orientation reservation already. Just reach out to us. Your Bronco One card, your student ID card, for anyone that's following through with the online orientation and submitting the appropriate documentation to their office, you'll have an ID card ready for pickup during check-in on orientation. If you do not have that ready, then they will be available every day of in-person orientation from 4:30 to 5:30 to support students in getting a photo and getting their ID card printed. And then there are 2 holds on students' accounts regarding orientation. One is for the completion of the online orientation, and one is for the attendance and participation in our live synchronous sessions. So know that after you complete and meet both of those requirements is when we release the hold. All right, but that is my section. That's my overview of orientation. Feel free to reach out to us or contact us. You'll see the contact info there. But I'll transition now to Erin, who's going to talk a bit more about advising.
Thank you so much, David. Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Landros. I'm the Director of University Advising, and I want to echo David's sentiment that we are just so excited to see you all. The orientation season is my favorite time of the year. There's so much energy, and now that we get to be back in person since the pandemic, it's so wonderful. So welcome, congratulations, and thank you for attending today. So my section, I'm going to go over kind of the next steps on your advising and registration timeline. We've been receiving lots of questions from our eager students who are interested in already, getting advising and being able to register for classes. So we just want to walk you through to make sure that you feel comfortable and you understand what the next steps are going to look like. So for your next kind of piece that you'll need to do to prepare for advising and registration, you'll want to complete that online orientation, the part 2 that David mentioned. So there's a part 1, and then part 2 is really focused on your academic and advising resources. There is placement information that's more for freshmen, but there'll be one specifically transfer focus that'll go through all of the things that you need to do to be prepared for your orientation day. It's going to go through your tools, your resources. It's going to walk you through how to kind of prepare and what tools to have with you on that day. There are several videos that we have to kind of walk you through those steps. So definitely, I mean, there will be a hold place if you don't do it, but beyond that, it is important to do it so that you have all of the information that you need to be successful on the day of. And then, before then, our transfer students won't necessarily need to take any pre-tests. Those are typically for our freshman students, but be sure to plan or to attend the planner support sessions, which on the next slide, I'll talk a little bit more about. But those will help you to be able to set up your academic planner to be successful. So on the upcoming slides, we'll have a screen grab so that you can scan that and be able to go and see the list of planner support dates. So those are like an 1.5-hour session where we kind of walk you through the steps to be successful on your first day of orientation. So in addition to that online orientation that you can do on your own time, so that is self-paced, and then to attend those planner sessions, you'll come to that advising session on your live orientation day, whether that's in person or your virtual day. All of those, all students will have their advising and registration happen on that day. And so our goal when you come to advising on your orientation day is to learn about your major. So you'll have a presentation from your chair or your faculty members. We'll want you to register for 12 to 15 units of classes in your first term so that we're setting you up for success and to stay on track for a timely graduation. And then you'll meet your assigned advisor. Every student who comes to Cal Poly Pomona has an assigned advisor, and you'll get to meet yours on your orientation day. We can go to the next slide. Yeah. So in anticipation of that, some things to kind of look at to be prepared for your orientation date. One is to visit Student Success Central, and I'll go ahead. You can see the link on the page, but I put the link in the chat as well. Student Success Central is a great place to kind of review some of the tools and resources that you're going to need on your during advising and registration on your live synchronous orientation day. And a lot of that will be covered in that online orientation. So if you're too anxious and you don't want to wait till June 1st, you're just so excited and you want to start looking at those tools now, all of them are on Student Success Central. So that's where you can find your curriculum sheets and your roadmaps. We talk about GE patterns there. There are guides to how to register for classes. So all of that information will be there for you to start getting like a sneak preview about if you would like to. And then, like I mentioned before, we would like for you to attend a planner support session. So every student has a degree planner that allows you to, based on like your curriculum sheet and your roadmap, plan out your time to degree. So how many courses you want to take in each term. And then from that planner, you can schedule your classes based on the times that work for you. Maybe you can't work in the mornings or you have to work in the morning, so you can't come to class, or maybe you have childcare duties in the afternoon, or you're supporting a family member or a friend. And so you're not available in the evenings. You can kind of put in your schedule of what works for you, and then it'll pop out a proposed schedule of classes for you. And then finally, it allows you to do a one-click kind of process to register for classes. Now, you won't be able to register for your classes until your actual live synchronous orientation day, but these planner support sessions will help you to kind of put all of the pieces together so that you're ready to go, and that when you meet with your advisor, they can kind of check things and make sure that everything looks good and that you're ready and all set. And then you can just go ahead and click, hopefully, register right then. On your orientation day. So again, you can scan those, and it will direct you to both our CPP Connect, which is the tool that we use for the planner sessions, and then the list of planner workshops so that you can go ahead and register for those now. Those are both available. Go to the next slide. Awesome. So on your actual orientation day and that live session, again, whether it is in person or virtual, you will have the same experience. Orientation is a group advising base, and that is because we have so many of you, and we're thrilled about that. But there are just a few of us. So your orientation day will be group sessions. That is actually really great because it means you're going to get to meet other students in your major, and you're going to meet your major specific advisor. So your advisor will be meeting with you and the other students in your major, and they will help you to register for the classes that you need. During that time, you will have presentations from your college's associate dean or dean, your department chair and faculty member will come. They'll talk about like opportunities for clubs and co-curriculars specifically tied to your major. They'll talk about career paths and career options that you can do, all the super fun things about your major you'll get to kind of explore on that first day. After that presentation, then your staff advisor, the advisor that is assigned to you, is going to go through the courses that you'll need to complete for your major in that first term. So we'll go over your general education classes because our transfer students do need to complete some upper division general education classes, even if you come in GE certified, as well as some major courses. And then we'll review the tools. And that's why, it's great to come to these planner sessions, because it'll just be kind of reinforcing the information that you've kind of been putting together ahead of time. So we'll review your curriculum sheets, and then we'll take some time to look at that planner that you put together to see if the courses that you planned are going to work. And then it'll be time to register. So you can then kind of finish up those steps that I talked about before. You'll take those courses that are in your planner, put them into your scheduler, and then click. It's just really a one-click process to register for those classes. And like I mentioned before, our goal is to have students register for 12 to 15 units in their first term to stay on track to graduate in a timely manner. And then we'll want you to kind of fill out that planner, at least for your fall and your spring term, so that your advisor can continue to meet with you to make sure that you're on track for graduation. After advising, because we often have students asking, well, when can I have that one-on-one appointment with my advisor? So because we have all of our students coming to us in the summer and we have lots and lots of orientation sessions, all of that orientation time will be group advising. In the fall, that's when you can have that one-on-one appointment with your advisor, and you can have them as often as you'd like. We recommend typically once a term or once a year. But in the meantime, if you have any questions that are kind of just general about, I registered for this course and I wanted to make sure it was a general education course, you can contact the Bronco Advising Center, and I'll have a slide on that in a moment. But as I mentioned before, all of our tools and our resources are on Student Success Central. So you can feel free to check out our advising directory, all of the info that we have there. You will receive information a little bit later this summer. I mean, you'll meet your assigned advisor at orientation, but we'll send you specific communication with their name and how to reach out to them to make those one-on-one appointments later in the summer. Great. Just some other things to keep in mind. So Billy Chat is our artificial intelligence text messaging robot. You may have already been in contact with Billy. So Billy is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to answer questions that you have about, your experience here at Cal Poly Pomona. So we get everything from, when is my orientation date to, how can I get movie tickets on campus? So Billy can answer lots and lots of things. We also use him to send, excuse me, dates, announcements, and reminders about campus services. So even if you never ask the chatbot any questions, we will send you reminders via that. It's really important because, let's say your fees are due soon. We'll send you a reminder that your fees are due so that you aren't dropped from your courses, because if students don't pay their fees, they can potentially be dropped from courses. So using Billy Chat as kind of that moderator of your next steps or making sure that you're on track is one of your great tools to use, in addition to checking your email and making sure that you're staying on track with that stuff as well. But you can feel free to scan if you're unfamiliar with Billy Chat to learn a little bit more about it. And then lastly, like I mentioned before, if you have any general questions ahead of both your orientation day and, let's say after your orientation day and before the start of the school year, where you can have that sit down one-on-one advising with your advisor, you can always contact the Bronco Advising Center. We are available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And yes, we can support students in whatever they need, just to make sure that you're on track and you're feeling comfortable, because we are, as I said, so excited to see you. And we are on social media, so feel free to follow us. That's where we also post any of those important reminders about upcoming dates and deadlines that students should know about. I think that's it. So I'm going to turn it over to Giselle. Giselle, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, thank you, Erin. I appreciate it. So my name is Giselle. I'm one of the admissions counselors. Let me start off by saying the orientation and BAC social media is amazing. So go ahead and follow them. When I was a student here, I followed them. Tons of important information. I'm going to go ahead and talk over the next steps and important information that you guys should be aware of. You've likely have been receiving emails on behalf of admissions. We're going to go ahead and talk about that in a little detail. Jasmine. So first and foremost, you likely have already submitted your TET. That deadline was May 1st. We were just speaking about orientation, which the deadline is coming up this upcoming Monday, May 15th. What's next after that? When you attend your orientation, we're going to ask you guys, of course, to submit your transcripts before July 15th. It could be sooner, but the deadline will be July 15th. So keep in mind, transcripts should be unofficial, unopened in case you're dropping them off on campus, be sent by a third-party transcript service, either through Parchment or a National Clearinghouse. You can also send them directly to the school at verify@cpp.edu in case you want to pull out your phones and take a screenshot of this, and then can be mailed to the following address. As I mentioned, transcripts should be final and due by July 15th. Failure to submit transcripts will result in your application being withdrawn. I'm going to backtrack a little bit outside of transcripts while we're taking screenshots and writing this information down. A big question that we're getting right now is, I've already submitted my 10th. I signed up for orientation. I'm still provisionally admitted. What does that mean? It's a great question. So provisionally admitted is based off self-reported information from your Cal State Apply application. The reason why we want to cover the transcripts portion is because once we verify that everything that you put on your application is evaluated and good to go and you're finally admitted, we'll be able to verify all that information through those official transcripts. So be sure to submit them by July 15th. Jasmine? Thank you. For the external exams, for those of you guys who have either taken AP Advanced Placement or IB International Baccalaureate scores, for AP specifically, keep in mind it takes 6 to 8 weeks to be received on our end. So you want to make sure you reach out and send those official scores from College Board, especially if they're going to be archived. Official scores are reported through College Board. Scores of 3 or higher should be sent to us, and up to 6 units of college credits will be given per exam. For IP, scores of 4 or higher on the higher level exams should be sent to us, as well as 9 units of college credits per exam will be given as credit. Same deadline applies. It will be July 15th. And in the event that you need our school code, if you're going to be sending that information over, it is 4028. Next slide. Another great question that we get from students at Cal Poly Pomona is going to be, I have to live on campus, or I'm interested in living on campus, right? Housing is not a requirement for transfer students. However, if you are interested in housing residential suites, that's deemed suite specific for transfer students. There's also the Village, which is amazing. There is a $450 deposit. There's deferment possible for housing students. It can be waived and then reapplied for your fall courses when you pay for them. So keep that in mind. You'll want to contact housing specifically if you are interested in housing on campus. So their number and email is located at the bottom left of the screen. If you have any questions or still have yet to apply for housing, feel free to do so as soon as possible. That way you can get your name in the game. Next slide. And just an overview of checklists. So there are things that we required as of admissions for you guys to complete. There's going to be things such as housing, as well as orientation and final transcripts that are going to be upcoming. So just an overview of what you guys have already completed and will need to complete in the upcoming weeks. So number 1, intent to enroll. For those of you guys that have accepted your intent to enroll, we are happy to have you. Congratulations once again. That deadline was May 1st. Number 2 would be the mandatory orientation. Again, that deadline is coming up this Monday, May 15th. Be sure to sign up as soon as possible. It's amazing. Number 3, apply for housing. For the deadline, it was April 15th. Please contact the housing office. However, for transfer students, it's a little bit different because you guys are not required. So please reach out to them to submit your application if you have not done it. And number 4, attend a mandatory orientation, whether that's in person or virtual, between the months of July and August. And last but not least, as we covered earlier in the admissions orientation, the admissions presentation, final transcripts, AP scores, and IB are due by July 15th. Once we get all that done in the checklist, which you can monitor through your Bronco Direct, it's welcome to Cal Poly Pomona, and you guys will be good to go from there. So the next few weeks, a lot of stuff going to be due as you're finishing up your spring semesters. Be sure to stay on top of emails, connect with us in admissions if you guys have any questions. We'd be happy to look if we have your transcripts on file or if you have any questions for us, and we can go from there. If you do happen to have questions, you can either contact us by phone, email, or via our websites. Our phone number and email will be located there, or you can feel free to stop by our orange counter. We're located in building 121 on the east side, first floor, financial aid, the BAC. We're all located on the east. If you guys have any questions for us, you can stop by. Other than that, thank you guys. I appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you guys on August 24th. That's going to be the first day of the semester.
Yes, perfect. So I know we just shared a lot of content in 30 minutes with you all in 3 different areas, and I appreciate my colleagues joining so that we can kind of just help you all transition smoothly over the summer. As I mentioned at the front end, that typically gives you about 95% of the answers to some of your questions. We are recording the session today, so you'll have access to that to revisit all of these items again. But since we do have some time, we can take some questions. I would encourage you, if it's a very specific tailored question to a unique personal situation, reach out to us individually and we can do those offline and not here in the full room. And I was trying to answer most of the questions via chat that I could get to. So hopefully you saw those responses. One that I do see in there, and I'll just address first, and then we'll just hop it around and see. If you want to use raise hand feature, that's great. Unmute yourself or drop something in the chat. But it was regarding the orientation fee. So regardless of what type of session you register for, the fee is still mandatory. So I know some people are like, well, if I'm doing Zoom, that doesn't should I get some sort of discount or something else? The fee pays for more than just lunch that day. It goes towards a lot of different content and things that we host throughout the day. Anyone that joins a virtual orientation via Zoom still gets swag, still gets an opportunity drawing for some really great prizes and things that we're hosting for students. You still get a curated session, right? It still includes all of the elements of in-person. You're just not physically here. We wanted to try to offer a mix of modalities to support our incoming students. But that fee is mandatory regardless of the type of session you select. Right, and I see my colleagues responding to the chat, but does anyone have any pressing questions or something they'd like to raise hand for? And I'll try to start to read through some of these too, or if anyone else sees a question in the chat they want to address. William.
Hi, yes. So I signed up for the orientation, paid my fees. They let me know that they would send me a parking pass on my student email, but I signed up for orientation about a month ago. I just was wondering about the parking pass for the summer orientation.
So in your confirmation email, there should be a link that says to go here and fill out and receive your parking permit. I know a lot of folks have already done that. So if you revisit that confirmation message and let me know if you don't see that, just reach out to orientation@cpp.edu and we'll follow up directly. But everyone else has been able to see that link. So this would be a new thing, but glitches happen all the time. So just let me know, but revisit your confirmation and see if you see that in there. Samantha.
For the AP IB scores, what if you don't have any? Are you still required to turn in something?
No, so if you don't have any, and I'll jump in, thank you, David. You don't have to submit them, you're good to go. Then we would need your official transcripts by July 15th. So if you don't have them,
okay, perfect, thank you.
Yes. Jonathan.
Oh, hi. So on the online orientation, they said there's a deadline to pay for fall fees. Do we need to worry about that?
So the deadline that's in there is mainly for the freshman students because their orientation happens in June and it's prior to that deadline. Student accounts and cashiering services have let me know since the transfer dates take place in late July and even the beginning of August, that once you enroll in courses, you'll resolve your balance. I think they say within 2 weeks of getting all those charges onto your account once you actually physically enroll and see everything posted to your account.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we don't need to worry about that.
No, that was more of a general deadline that they have, but knowing that people sort of shift enrollment over the summer and also enroll later in the summer whenever they join us for orientation in those later dates.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Melissa.
Hi. Yes, sorry. I posted my question in the chat, but I need to go. So I was wondering, will the recording be sent to our student emails or how can we access it? And will there be more transfer workshops in the future that we can attend?
I'll respond to the second part, and I see Jasmine's already going to respond to the first. Yes, this is definitely something I think we want to do more of, collaborative workshops and sort of webinars to support you all in your transition. But Jasmine, regarding the recording.
Normally we post the recordings on what we call our Counselor Corner webpage. I can definitely see if this is something that we can send out to everyone, but if not, it will definitely be posted on our website. So on our admissions website, if you go to the very bottom, there's some boxes at the very bottom, it'll say admission Counselor Corner. That's where we post all of our workshop videos and things like that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. I don't want to butcher a name. Is it April?
Yes.
Okay.
How do we apply to be a student worker to work on campus?
That's a great question. You're going to have access to Handshake. That's where most of the postings will be. So you'll see that when you log in to your student portal. It's one of the online sort of platforms that we use and operationalize. And during orientation, one of the pathways will actually have people talk a little bit more about getting involved and invested on campus. The other thing I'll say is, as a new student, we're planning CPP Fest, which will take place August 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And CPP Fest will include a large club fair, resource fair, and they'll even do like a job fair of some sorts. So you'll be able to connect with individuals who are looking to hire for on-campus support.
Okay, may I ask one more question, please?
Yes.
Regarding parking permits for the upcoming fall semester, so I understand that we are back on campus. Are there, if we were to be if our schedule's like they're only 2 days a week or 3 days a week, are parking permits just one price or are there different ones?
That's a great question, and I'll defer to my colleagues if they want to jump in there.
Let me look at the website real quick. I think there's that option for summer. I don't know that is an option for fall, but let me take a look real quick.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll take these 3 remaining questions and then we'll try to wrap up. And Erin, when you find that link, she'll drop it in the chat for you all. So Lucky, I see your hand next.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I'm a veteran and there are certain requirements that I need to do to submit like education plans. And, you know, there's different things that I have to fulfill before the VA will pay for my education. Is there a different process that I'm going to be doing because I'm a veteran, or like, you know, when do I get that information that I need to send into?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are, when Erin, I see you unmuted, so you can jump in too, but there are Veteran Resource Center Summer 23 pre-orientation sessions. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat. If anyone else is a veteran, you can log in there and you'll see the dates that are available. So you can register for one of those pre-orientation sessions to make sure you have everything out of the way. And this is the specific website too that it's on our webpage if you want to just review that as well. So that should give you most of the information you need regarding filling out forms, getting the proper signatures, and getting everything else submitted.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
And if you, the Veterans Resource Center will reach out and connect with you, or you can always connect with them about those options. If you've self-reported that you are a veteran, they will reach out to you. If you would like to reach out to the Veterans Resource Center, they can help you with that. But your advisor will, certainly kind of walk you through that process as well of kind of confirming your ed plan and getting that submitted.
Okay, thank you.
And I apologize, I've looked on the website, I can't find anything. So why don't we reach out and then we can even share it with our admissions colleagues when we send out the recording, we can send out that link as well.
Perfect. Sarah.
Hello, so I've read that we are required to make a plan on the CPP Connect planner before our orientation day. But I've been trying to get on the planner for the past couple of days and have not been able to. So number one, I wanted to check that it is a requirement that we fill out the planner before the orientation day. And number two, I wanted to know how I can access it.
Great question, Sarah, and thank you for being so proactive. So students will get access to it in the coming days. Right now it is down, we're building out for next year. So we're just finalizing their curriculum and getting those loaded into the system. So that will come with that information that's going to come on June 1st to provide you kind of with those next steps and the instructions for how to do that. And then if we would like for students to complete their planners ahead of orientation, I think it'll help you a lot to feel really comfortable when you go into your orientation advising session. But we have those planner workshops that I mentioned earlier, and I can pull up the link for those right now as well and put them in the chat so that we can walk you through that process. So it was a long answer to say you will get access to it in the coming weeks, certainly by June 1st. And then if you want to come to one of those planner workshops, we can help you to use the tool.
right, thank you so much.
Right, I apologize if I mispronounce another name, but is it Pino?
Oh, it's Puna. Hi.
Puna, there we go. Hi.
Hi. So I signed up for orientation back in March, actually, committed
Mhm.
super early. But back then I got a parking permit. I got a separate email basically just saying that, hey, here's your parking permit. I actually just went back to the email and it's saying that the link expired for the parking permit.
Okay, let me double check with transportation because they're the ones that gave us the links for you. So let me double check how you can do that and I will follow up.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
And then last question, Astrid.
Hi, good morning. I just
Morning.
wanted to know, because I do have orientation online. My only concern is how do I enroll into classes? Because I know that you guys help enroll classes in person during orientation. I just want to know how can I enroll in classes by myself?
Yeah, you'll get the same level of support. It may be different because it's a different modality, but we will separate you all via breakout rooms by your academic colleges. We will still have our orientation leaders. Again, as I mentioned, we hired over 40 in those breakout rooms to provide support. The same, should you need any sort of virtual support or connection from anyone in Erin's area or any other advisors, they will be on hand as well. But Erin, if you want to talk more about that.
Yeah, Astrid, we got pretty good at it during the pandemic. So we're experts in doing, like David said, those breakout sessions. So you will get all of the same support. It'll just be virtual. So you'll get the same presentations from all of the different folks, and then you'll start registering because you'll be right at your computer. You can raise your hand just like you did now, and then ask questions, and then, put things in the chat or, go into a breakout room if you have private questions and things like that. So the level of support will be just the same.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, Astrid. All right, folks. So those are the questions we'll take today in terms of what we have time for, and hopefully the content that we shared today is useful and beneficial. As a reminder, you'll get a recording. We'll follow up regarding parking permits for this academic year, as well as I will follow up directly with transportation services to see what's going on with the parking permits for orientation dates if you're joining us live for those live sessions. But again, I'll echo what the colleagues have already said. We are so excited to welcome you to Cal Poly Pomona and invite you to the Bronco family. This is just phase one of the transition that you'll get, and you have plenty of people dedicated here to support you in that transition. So please reach out to us, let us know how we can help and answer those questions so that when you show up in August, you know exactly what you need to do and you're equipped and prepared to be successful. Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your time for one last question?
Sure. What's the question, Lucky?
Just real quick. So I use the my to-do list to track and see if I need to do anything. Is there anything outside of that that I'm missing that I should be also working on to prepare for transferring?
So anything that's needed from the Office of Admissions will be on that to-do list. We also send reminders if we are asking for anything. So really, you're just going to want to track that to-do list in terms of the Office of Admissions, and then even orientation puts holds on there and on your account or anything like that. So just keep track of your to-do list.
Okay, because I have a fellow student that's transferring, and he's telling me he's having to like submit like immunization records, and I'm like, I haven't seen anything about that, so.
And that's also on your to-do list. If the Wellness Center needs them, it's placed on your to-do list. So
Okay, so-
everyone's to-do list may look a little bit different just depending on their personal situation.
Okay, so as long as I'm like up to date with my to-do list, I'm good then.
Yes,
Okay, I just want to make sure that, I'm not missing something that I should be working on. Thank you for your help.
of course.